We got the Healing Movie book by Micheal A. Kalm, and it's signed, signed. It's signed, right? It's from 2004. For John to one restless spirit from another, Micheal. And I think this is really just about healing therapy with movies and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna read a little bit of the book and some of the preface, and we'll keep it simple and sweet on that. So let's read it. The Healing Movie book, the back of it, removes the mystery of psychotherapy, explaining in clear, lively prose what it's for, how it works, and why it works. Shows how pivotal scenes from commercially available movies spanning more than 70 years can facilitate the positive outcome of psychotherapy. Includes plot outlines and analysis of 169 movies from a unique psychiatric viewpoint that makes classic films fresh for even the most seasoned movie lover. Informs and entertains with anecdotes and poignant clinical tales peppered throughout the text. And, there's some people saying, oh, it's brilliant and stuff like that. So cool. Precious images, the healing use of cinema and psychotherapy. All right. And now I'm just going to read the preface for y'all. Read the preface. 30 years ago, during my psychiatric residency at Duke University, my fellow residents and I were watching a videotape of one of our teachers, Bob Phillips, demonstrating group therapy. The patient was a young woman with a Medusa complex. She had come to believe that if she looked at an ill person, she would come down with that person's disease. This belief and its attendant fear kept her a virtual recluse. It was difficult for her to leave her house, and when she absolutely had to go someplace, someone else would have to drive her while she kept her eyes covered. The videotape we were watching showed the stratagem Bob devised to deal with her situation. For this session, he invited a co-therapist to join him, who sat next to the young woman to give her support. Then Bob got up from his chair, walked to the center of the room, collapsed, and had a grand mal seizure. Wow. I was stunned. With medical school, internship, and a stint as an Army battalion surgeon freshly behind me, I had seen many grand mal seizures, and what I was seeing on the videotape looked real. After the class, I went to Bob and asked him if he had a seizure disorder. He said no, he said. Naively, I asked if he practiced having seizures. He said no. See, my puzzle looked, he added, of course, as a doctor, I have seen seizures, and basically anything I can see, I can do. I'm not as good as the average 4-year-old yet, but I'm getting better. The average 4-year-old. I was reminded of a class of 4-year-olds that I saw taking a ski lesson at Snowmass in Aspen in 1972. They are following their instructor in a serpentine track. The instructor, turning back to look at them, did not see a bump in the slope that threw off her balance. She thrust her right leg high into the air to regain her balance. Every child in her class skied that bump in exactly the same way. Monkey see, monkey do. Or it's more sophisticated variation, quoted as the great maxim of surgical instruction: see one, do one, teach one. See one, do one, teach one. The power of images to evoke emotion, to inspire, indeed to teach. It is in its last area, teaching, that I have used excerpts from movies as a vital aid in my psychotherapeutic work with patients over the last quarter century. Timothy Galloway, in his book, The Inner Game of Tennis, wrote about a student who came to him saying, I've been to 3 other instructors and no one can help me. I even know what my problem is. It's my backhand. My backswing is too high. You're my last hope. Galloway wrote that he was tempted to say that, to the young man, lower your backswing. That will be $25. But he knew that wouldn't work. Instead, he took the young man out to his tennis court and said, let me see you hit some backhands. He put the young man opposite a ball machine and began firing balls to his backhand. Now, Galloway had a special tennis court with a large mirror running down the length of it. The young man was positioned so he's able to catch sight of himself in the mirror. He did so, and after about his third background, he explained, hey, my backswing's too high, and lowered his backswing. Psychotherapists back to Cervantes have known that intellectual understanding is not enough to affect change. The individual has to know in some much more fundamental. Let me read that over. Psychotherapists back to Cervantes have known that intellectual understanding is not enough to affect change. The individual has to know in some much more fundamental way. In some much more fundamental way. He has to see it. Don Quixote is cured of his madness when his nephew surrounds him with mirrors so that he must see himself. It is in our language. Seeing is believing. Can you see yourself? Can you see what you're doing? How can you be so blind? Fritz Perls, a great psychiatrist and one of the seminal developers of Gestalt therapy, once said, the definition of a neurotic is someone who cannot see the obvious. Psychotherapists continue to strive to find stratagems to help their patients see the obvious. What a tool we have in movies for our armamentarium. Precious images of sight and sound, imagined and acted truly, and now, thanks to new technologies, readily accessible through rental for the local video store. It has gotten even better with the emergence of DVDs with their advanced capabilities of chapter search. Patients can be pointed to key scenes in which they can watch easily over and over as they practice their own skills. The book represents a celebration of my own love of movies, my love of creative psychotherapy, and a sharing of some of my favorite movie scenes and their uses in psychotherapy. The book will be organized according to basic goals of psychotherapy. Movie scenes used to aid in the achievements of those goals, and in some cases, illustrations. So that's the preface. Actually, pretty cool preface to learn more. I'm actually going to put this in my my rotation to read. I think it'd be pretty cool that I could use in my own profession of documentary filmmaking, YouTube content creating, and such. So once again, the Healing Book Movie, Micheal A. Kalm. I have a signed copy, 2004, so it's actually vintage now. So please like this video, give me a subscription so you can learn more about Rare Books USA as it's evolving, growing, and more updates happen. Thank you.